What up, dude? Oh man, I actually wrote out the topics for today's episode, but there's only three, so I gotta still ramble a little bit. So let's start with the first thing that happened today. I really struggled to sleep. Actually, went to bed at. I tried going to bed at 12:15, and that wasn't working out. So I just kept laying in bed. I think I fell asleep for about an hour, so I took a nap technically, and then woke up, and then well, it was about 2 hours actually, because it was 1:45, and then I said, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna walk around in my pajamas around the living complex," and no one saw me, so that's cool. It's not like I feel like I have a. Does that mean that I'm confident or stupid that I'm wearing a bunch of clothing like that out in the wild? Out in the wild is the hallways. We call them that here, or I do. I think uh, everybody should call them what I call them, though, because I'm self-centered. So yeah, I did that, and that was not very fun. It didn't really help. So I ended up going back to my bed and just laying in there. Didn't go back to sleep until 4, and I was watching a new show, but I'll tell you about the show I watched beforehand and the show that I'm going to continue watching and update you guys on. Okay, so there's this show called Neon Genesis Evangelion, and it's a good show until you get to the last two episodes in the movie. Then it becomes so convoluted and way out of the scope that the previous episodes have set up. Like the previous episodes are all about the character development and relationships with other characters, but the last two episodes are like, you know what? That kind of doesn't matter. Let's just make everybody part of the same being. And I'm like, what does that even mean? How is this? This wasn't even something that was. If it was alluded to, I completely missed it. And if it's something that's that important that the series is going to end on it, then why not have more hints toward it? Like, there's so many better ways you could have ended it, and you could have. Oh man, it's like the movie was better than the episodes, and that was supposed to replace the ending for the last two episodes. But it's it basically gives you the same ending, and then freaking the main character is called Shinji. He chokes out like this roommate girl that he's kind of into, and I'm like, what is happening? Why do you do that? You clearly like this girl enough to live with her. Why would you choke her out and like strangle her to death? And how is he physically able to do that? Because this girl has been shown to like push this kid around before. I couldn't just go up to one of my roommates who weighs the same amount as me and just do that and then have them not break me away. But I get that part for the story, but it doesn't make sense to have that happen. And it's, oh man, it's so terrible. Like, the entire rest of the show was very good. It has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the last two episodes and the movie nullify any. I think that it's shocking that it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It should not be that high, because if anybody has seen it all the way through, which kind of shows you what the film slash TV reviewing industry is like, they clearly did not watch the last two episodes. Otherwise, there's no way that 26 people all liked the last two episodes when I could barely even find one person that watched the whole series and did. And it was an actual fan of the show. And then you go online and people are saying, this ending was actually good. And I'm like, well, I shouldn't have to look up stuff for the ending to be explained to me. I'm I'm an audience, and the person making the show needs to make it for the audience. But anyways, beyond that, I had my physics test today. Did not go well. But you know what? I realized something. I had been studying for physics wrong. And that is on me, because I had enough time last night after finishing my math exam to where I could, and even while I was struggling to sleep, while I was struggling to sleep, I could have easily taken out some physics, done a little bit of it in the way that I thought the test was going to be done. And I missed out on that because I was hoping that it would be something different. And this is a message to anybody out there who's hoping something is going to be different than when they contact it. Don't. Don't hope for it to be different. Start working on yourself so that way when you come into contact with it, you're ready. I was ready enough. I don't know if I'll get above a 50. It would be nice if I did, but we'll see. And at the end of the day, it's just one midterm, and now I know what to do, and I know I need to focus more. And there's nothing that's going to hold me back from that other than myself. And it's a really liberating thing to say, but also it requires a lot of dedication and hard work to do. Finally, let's talk about, I also worked out today. I did that as a way to cope with not doing so hot on the physics exam. I was very close on a few questions, but anyways, I worked out in jeans, so I got a few interesting looks, and then there were these, the group of 3 girls that I worked out with were there. I complimented one of them on their hat because I like women wearing hats. I might be the only person who's like that, but hey, if women are allowed to like men without beards, I'm allowed to like girls with hats. It's a switch. It's double standard, you know? Anyways, so last thing I want to talk about is a show called Scissor 7. Oh, actually, no, we gotta do this last, but I'll talk about Scissor 7 before doing that. So, a show called Scissor 7. This show, I had very low expectations going into it because the animation looked like it was going to be really weird, and granted, it is very different, but I don't think it's weird in a bad way. It's weird in a very satisfying way. It's kind of dying down at the end of the first season, but there's filler episodes at the end of the first season, so that might have something to do with it, but also it might have been the fact that I was watching the end of the first season right before my physics exam, and I was like, I can't really focus on this right now, or I can't invest myself into this right now, otherwise I'm going to be mad when I go and take my exam. So that show is very funny. There was one moment where this guy was trying to poke this other dude's eyes out, and his hands were stopped both times, and then he went backwards with his legs, like over his head, and he said, I've been practicing yoga for a whole month, and I thought that was hilarious, and that was only the second episode. It's cool. I like the show. It's sometimes you'll get characters censored out from swearing, and I think that's also funny, but it's a good show. It's a good show. If you've ever seen Rick and Morty, that comes on afterwards. I think it's one. Oh, another thing about the Evangelion movie. I was thinking about how companies have certain things that they say or have their logos synced with music, like Disney, Castle, and then the song. And Rick and Morty has that thing at the end with whatever industry that is. I don't really care. And the Evangelion movie had like 6 title cards. I was like, when does the movie start? And then I realized that I wish it didn't start and I could have rewritten it better. And it's like everybody dies, but everybody's alive. So, like, you can't have both. That is so stupid. You need to have one or the other. I don't think having both works. At least not with the way the series was set up. So, let's get to today's actual interest. So, normally I don't read hockey stuff, but today is very important. The U.S. Olympic hockey team wins the gold medal by defeating Finland 4-2 in Lake Placid, New York. Though they are given little chance of winning a medal, the Americans post a 4-0-1 record in group play to advance to the 4-team medal round. On February 22nd, the United States earned a spot in the gold medal game by stunning the Soviet Union 4-3 in one of the greatest upsets in sports history. Today, the Finns lead 2-1 after 2 periods. Early in the third period, Phil Vershata and Rob McClanahan score for a 3-2 advantage. A shorthanded goal by Mark Johnson with 3:38 remaining seals the victory. That's awesome. All right, so birthdays today. We got Honus Wagner, Elaine Pross, Eddie Murray, Simeon Rice, and Leighton Hewitt. I know Honus Wagner and Simeon Rice, kinda. I don't really know what sport Simeon Rice plays. I just think he plays football because it sounds like Jerry Rice, but I don't know if that's me being racist. Probably not me being racist, but I I miss that so bad. I'll actually show you how bad I miss that. It's over there. I needed to hit the trash can over there. There's a little bit of insight to what my room looks like. You haven't seen that since I stopped caring and stopped trying. So there you go. And that's going to be it for this video. Outro.